Welcome to Fitness Friday. My name is Diandra, and I'm the founder of Cancer Free Haven. And today I'm joined by the all-inspiring Cass from Godly Gal Cass. We are both stage 3 hormone-positive breast cancer survivors. And so we started sharing this bond of strength and perseverance. I first discovered Cass's incredible story while she was preparing for a marathon amidst her cancer treatment. And her determination and resilience really inspired me. Today, we're here to share that energy and inspiration with all of you. I am really excited to dive into our cancer journeys and highlight the role that fitness played in our cancer journeys. We'll also offer some valuable insights at the end if you stay tuned for that. Cass, can you share with us how physical activity played a role in your cancer journey?
Sure. Firstly, thank you so much for having me, and I'm equally as inspired by you, so I appreciate those words. Again, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. It's been almost a year. It was March 17th, and before that, I was always an active person. I played sports growing up, and I was really focusing on training for half marathons and marathons. So my diagnosis shocked me because I felt like I was a very healthy person. I was doing everything right. And I remember when I was first diagnosed, I felt like a sigh of relief because through my training before getting diagnosed, I felt this tiredness that I couldn't explain. And I thought, oh, is it just like my activity level? I'm running slower kilometers than I was before. Running with a 10 centimeter tumor, I think, might have contributed to my slower runs. But how it helped me through my diagnosis is, of course, physically, it's huge for battling that cancer fatigue. But mentally, when you get diagnosed, and I don't know if you experience the same, it was so easy for me to only think about cancer. Every conversation I had with someone in my head, I'm like, don't say you have cancer, don't say you have cancer. Every TV show, every commercial. And so exercise and continuing to run with this goal of running this marathon allowed me to have this like dissociation or escape from real life, which was cancer. And so I could go for a jog and put on Taylor Swift and forget everything I was going through and throw on a hat, forget I didn't have hair, run with other friends and feel like I was just as normal as them because I was able to keep up with them. For me, it was really the mental aspect, and it just provided this strength and fortitude that I could exist outside my cancer treatment, which allowed me to be a stronger person in my cancer treatment.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad that you shared that because I know a lot of us, we had a certain level of physical activity growing up through teenage years and college. And then as we get older, there is a gradual decline, but it's hard to tell what was cancer fatigue and what is just normal aging. For me, I actually had the first inkling that I had breast cancer during a workout. So I was doing butterflies at the gym and I felt a tear here in my chest. And so I just chalked it up to muscle tears and things like that. But that moment was actually when the cancer was coming outside of like the center. So it went to the top and I could actually feel it. It was palpable. Physical activity is actually what brought my attention to it. I had something in my breast and they just said, oh, it's dense breast tissue. Your breast changes as you age. Those were the lines that I was told. So I didn't know that this mass in the center was cancer until it came to the surface. Throughout my cancer journey, I did have a lot of fatigue early on. I would go work out at the gym and some days it would be great. And then other days I just had this low energy. And so I turned to gentle yoga. So just doing it at home, especially during the pandemic, those days were really good for me to do that at home when I wasn't feeling judged by anyone else. Then I even went through these other phases, like around surgery, I went right into physical therapy. And so that was rebuilding strength and gaining mobility. Once I graduated that, I switched to another type of workout, to hot yoga and cardio classes. So
awesome.
Yeah, I just tried different things. When I was growing up, I was a dancer, but I realized as I got older that dance wasn't something for me, but that I allowed myself to try new things. So I see myself now in the yoga phase. And I really do enjoy that. And I broke my wrist, unfortunately, over the summer, and it just set me back down to zero. So just being able to adapt, I think,
Yeah.
was really important to me. And it's a great skill that I learned through cancer that I've then reapplied in other circumstances since then. Cass, since you have this incredible story about training for marathons during your treatments, I know you have some powerful insights that you could share with our community. Could you give us one of your number one tips for breast cancer survivors when it comes to physical activity?
I feel like I could speak about this for hours, but I think one benefit of physical activity that might be overlooked is when you're going through breast cancer, it's interesting because it's primarily seen as a woman's cancer,
Mhm.
but it strips away all femininity, right? Or what society deems as femininity. And so I think my tip would be find something that allows you to view your body in just a way that's positive and empowering.
Mhm.
And that's probably going to look different than what it did before cancer, because cancer can definitely mess with your self-esteem. For me, working out, I know once I was done chemo, I got really into weightlifting to help
Mhm.
prevent lymphedema, which I still got, but I did try my best. And I remember like really focusing on how much weight I could lift, how strong I was getting, the muscle I was building. So that way, when I went through my surgery and my body completely changed overnight, I went into it with such a better mindset and like love and compassion and appreciation for my body. And I attribute a lot of that to weightlifting. That would be my biggest tip. Definitely don't overlook the mental health part and or mental health benefits and body image benefits that can come from working out. And I don't mean body image, oh, I need to weigh a certain, not that at all. It's more just let's be strong and like love on our body that is going through so much right now to get
Mhm.
us through this.
Yeah, that's great. Mental health has really been a big part of my cancer journey. And I
Mm.
can totally agree that working out, you have your personal best and just seeing those grow gradually over time is it's really encouraging. I remember for me, there's this interesting thing that happened. My gym, I was at Planet Fitness at the time. They had certain equipment before my surgery, and then after my surgery, they updated all the equipment. It had more of those stabilizer muscles that you needed to be able to use the equipment. I had just taken a step down because I couldn't do the same thing from surgery, but then everyone around me also had the same thing. But it felt really good that my husband, his PRs went down. And so I could see that part of it was the equipment,
Well,
that
that's
part of it
perfect.
was for me, my surgery. Yeah, I really love that you've integrated that tip in there. I think just starting where we are, like that'll lead into my tip. My top tip for physical activity on your breast cancer journey comes from a Live Strong workout that I did before and after my surgery. And so this instructor, she starts off the video saying, "You are where you are, so let's start where you are."
Yeah.
And I don't know if she made that intentional or if it just happened to flow out at the time when she was recording, but it really resonated with me that we need to be kind to ourselves and have grace. And if we are starting coming up after surgery and we just don't have the energy, then we need to acknowledge that and start where we are. For after surgery, just going on a short walk, just doing those arm exercises up the wall. I remember those arm crawls. I really tracked it every day. I'm just saying, I got my 10 arm crawls. I got my 10 of this other stretch. It was really motivating to see the progress that I made, that I could do more. I had more flexibility even in those early days where I went from being able to do this to not being able to raise my arm above my shoulder. It's really jarring to see how your body changes just in a blink of an eye. In
Right.
a few hours you wake up and everything's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my biggest tip is just you are where you are, so start where you are.
I love that so much. And I think one thing that as a runner, I tried to have a similar mindset because obviously I couldn't run after my surgery because I lost a whole bunch of lymph nodes and couldn't move my arm very well. But so when I was cleared to run again, I really tried. I was like, I'm not running with my Garmin. I'm not
Mhm.
looking at how fast. I thought this is an opportunity to relearn running from the ground up and to just to have fun. I was so
Mhm.
focused on time. I was so focused on hitting a certain amount of kilometers. I'm like, no. Now that I haven't been able to go running for so long, I'm more grateful for it. And yeah, it's honestly completely changed my relationship with the sport, which has been awesome. And you're so right. Like you are where you are. There's not as much pressure now to hit certain PBs. It's just, hey, I'm running and I'm so grateful to be running and just do whatever my body's allowing me to do that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you mentioned the same thing for running because it doesn't matter what we're into. It's the fact that our bodies change dramatically. If
Hmm.
you're a dancer, or a runner, or weightlifting or yoga, it's going to be different. And
Hmm.
that's why I really appreciated trying different styles of physical activity. So if you can't do something that you did before, maybe trying something new is a way to start as a beginner
Hmm.
and to not feel like cancer set you back, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's great. So, I'm mindful of everyone's time. And as we wrap up today, I hope that you feel inspired to embrace your cancer journey and to take small steps towards physical activity as you progress. I'm really looking forward to coming back and joining you again next week. We're going to dive into all things lymphedema since Cass and I both had lymph node removal and we've had two different experiences with lymphedema and prevention. I know this topic will be really resonating with a lot of our breast cancer survivors. So I want to thank Cass for joining me today. And I hope that everyone tunes back in on next week's Fitness Friday. And until then, that you keep thriving and remember that we're all in this together.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everyone who's watching.
Of course. All right. We'll check in again with you next week. Take care.
Yeah. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.